we sit, enjoying the shade.
Hey, brother, pour the wine.
Drink the drink that I have made.
Hey, brother, pour the wine.
Tell you why
Welcome,
the day is sunny.
gentlemen, to Drink in the Style. I'm your host, Gregory Rich. I'm going to help you kill your Saturday, Sunday, or God knows what evening with a little bit of drink and conversation. Welcome. Tonight's subject, it's going to be art. It's going to be art and perhaps the world's first metrosexual Viking. I have, ladies and gentlemen, a fantastic guest, one of my most adored individuals that I love. Minneapolis-based, wonderfully talented, insanely creative artist, Matthew G.G. Holm is with us. Matthew, how are you?
I'm great. I'm doing well. And I am... I was unprepared for the humor right off the bat, but thank you. That was great.
It's all part of the service to you, Mr. Holm. It really, really is.
And not lost for a second on me.
And we're going to discuss for a little bit what the GG stands for. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to save that until we're a few drinks in because there are some interesting opportunities. In addition to Matthew, one of my favorite artists in the Minneapolis area, one of my favorite people, and one of my favorite co-hosts from time to time and guests from time to time is with us, none other than the lovely Bethany Wrede Peterson. Bethany, welcome back.
Thank you, Gregory. It's good to be here on this special holiday episode of Drink in the Style.
It is, and
Yeah.
I believe, Matthew, you're going to be singing Sleigh Bells later, correct? You actually are a singer.
Oh, yeah, we didn't tell you that, but you're going to sing Sleigh Bells.
Sleigh bells?
Yeah.
Like, in what style? Like,
I'm thinking reggae.
oh, man.
It's not. I'll give you a little time to think about it.
That better be a good drink.
Well, that is a great intro. Well done. Top notch. You've just totally directed us into the cocktail part of our program. Now, Bethany is normally a guest, of course. And, of course, you've co-hosted like the Booze in the News show that we do from time to time.
The infamous Booze in the News show.
Show?
Haven't even had a drink yet. Can't even pronounce
really
my
good
words.
shoe.
Yes.
It's a really big shoe. Yes,
really big
indeed.
shoe.
Really big shoe.
Anyone
Yes.
who's 75 or older will know exactly what we're talking about, and they probably just died laughing, literally. Bethany, you are mixing a cocktail, and I know absolutely nothing about what you have in mind, so take it away. Tell us what
right.
we're doing.
So, okay, well, here's something. How am I going to hold this damned microphone and mix the drink?
Oh, that's a good question.
This is the fun part of the show. Okay.
I should let our listeners know we are experimenting. We've been experimenting for a little bit with a new format. And currently we're recording in my office at the District Edina, which is a beautiful office. And we wanted to show it off. I didn't design it, so I can be proud of it without being arrogant.
It is beautiful.
Thank you. And we're going to try to create a program that's a little more cocktail party oriented than our traditional discussion show, or interview style show. So what I'm going to do, actually, because you just created a realization, which is that you do not have the ability to mix and hold a microphone. I'm going to stand here and I'm going to do like an interview type of a thing.
Oh,
on
I like
the radio.
this.
Nice.
There we go.
Okay. So what are we drinking?
All right. So we are drinking. You guys can actually help me name the drink.
This is something you created?
Well, no, it's something that Pinterest created, but I think they just called it like a winter old fashioned. I'm like, we can do better
Oh, boy.
Okay.
This will be
than a
fun.
winter old fashioned. So I know that Matthew loves bourbon. I know that he loves old fashions. I know that I wanted
man.
to make a drink tonight where I was not worried about the cocktail shaker just exploding everywhere in your beautiful office. So I thought, let's keep it simple, shall we?
I like
so we're
simple.
doing
Simple
a
is good.
variation, a holiday-ish variation of an old fashioned.
Fantastic.
So-
I'll take your microphone and
Alrighty. Thank you, sir.
I will hold it. Actually, I'll just hold it here and you can discuss.
All right. So we are doing, for our old-fashioned of sorts for this holiday season, we're doing 2 ounces of Dickel Rye, which I just discovered. It's delicious.
Are you familiar with the Dickel Pickle?
No, I'm not.
That,
I'm not.
that could go either way.
That
I
could go
know,
either
I
way.
know.
You know what? Let's get the rocks out first.
Okay, fair enough. But while she's doing that very quickly, a Dickel Pickle is a great hangover remedy. Specifically, it is half pickle brine, half Dickel Rye. I know it sounds absolutely terrible, especially on a Sunday morning at 11 a.m., but trust me, it is a really good remedy.
I would drink that.
I am glad to hear that. I'd be disappointed if you didn't. You don't look like a man who'd be frightened of pickles.
I like pickles, actually.
Do you know I was like 35 before I discovered that pickles were actually cucumbers?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I swear to God, it's...
I think I was like 34, so there you go.
You were an overachiever. Okay, how much...
Okay, well, this was stupid because I can't get these rocks in the glass. We'll start on this side. How about that? There we go.
All right.
2 ounces of Dickel rye per drink.
Okay. Pouring in, and Dickel
Pouring
rye,
in.
again, available anywhere. It's not a very expensive rye.
No, I think it's like, what, like
$30 maybe?
$30, Okay, this is where it's going to get interesting for anyone who's watching on YouTube. You know the predicament. The rocks are not actually fitting into the glasses.
You got the big square ones, and...
Yeah. How are we going to do this, guys?
Can we just push it in?
Let's try it. Let's try it. Oh, I don't want to break your glasses.
That's okay.
We can try to scoot it around a bit. Maybe that'll help. If I do
right.
it. There we go. I think we can do it.
See,
All
look
right.
at this immediate production issues, but
I know. This
I have
is
a
the fun
loyal,
bit.
I have a loyal listenership. They'll stick with us through
I have
this.
every faith in the world that this is going to turn out fantastic.
This is going to turn out great.
Yeah.
Who needs a cocktail shaker when you can spin the rock in the rocks glass?
It's kind of an interesting
All right.
thought. It makes a nice sound too.
We'll try that out. Okay, let's keep going. 2 ounces of our Dickel rye. Okay, so I'm going to start telling you about the simple syrup that's required for this. It's really easy. I was going to say it's really simple, but that's the point of it.
agreed.
It's very
Simple
easy.
syrup?
You just make a rosemary tea. So you take fresh rosemary and you steep it for a few minutes.
You started out with a simple syrup, and now you've got rosemary in it?
Shoot. This is getting all over your table, right?
that's okay.
Sorry. It's a good thing it's a glass top.
But, okay, so start with rosemary.
Okay, so you take
infused.
fresh rosemary and you basically just kind of, I like to call it like a rosemary tea. You just basically boil it for about 5 minutes. We're not getting any drinks in this actual cocktail, Greg.
It's okay.
Oh my
it's gonna
God.
work.
When's Newkirk?
Ladies, thank you for it's a coming attraction.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is, the rosemary, you infuse it for a little bit, like 5 minutes on a simmer.
Okay.
And then you do, so if you have a cup of that rosemary tea that you create, then you do a half a cup of sugar and half a cup of maple syrup to make your simple syrup.
Okay,
So-
that is the most complicated simple syrup I've ever heard,
It's
but
not-
it
it's,
sounds amazing.
And then you do 3 bar spoons. And this might be a bit too much. We'll see. This is a pretty big bar spoon.
It is indeed,
1,
but
2.
fabulous.
It's looking good. And then, so it seems like a lot, but actually, if you are hosting a holiday party and you've got total lush relatives that just need to have a cocktail, this is a good cocktail to serve them, my friend.
I'm very enthusiastic about this.
And then, I need to get my Angostura. And then that's pretty much it. We'll top this off with a little bit of fresh rosemary in the glass as a garnish.
Wow, this is fabulous.
Now, I should say, too, that the recipe actually calls for cinnamon sticks to go into the simple syrup, but I know a lot of people are either allergic to cinnamon or they don't like cinnamon, so I kept the cinnamon out.
What kind of Philistines are these? Who doesn't like cinnamon? Johnson, you're a cinnamon man, aren't you?
Do you like cinnamon?
Absolutely am.
Would you like a cinnamon stick in the glass?
Cinnamon,
Yeah, sure, why not?
Did you come prepared?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll have a cinnamon
Yeah.
stick.
Okay, great. Excellent.
It's Matthew GG.
It's going to be hard to say cinnamon in it, but
All right.
Yes.
Where's the
there's
cinnamon? Oh, it's down
if
here.
there's cinnamon in it.
The
And
folks on
you do
YouTube
it.
enjoyed that slight moment.
Hey,
There you go.
We're back.
Sorry.
She's back. Hey, all right.
And the
so-
rosemary. Are you slapping the rosemary at all, or you're just
No,
dropping
I'm
it
just
in?
dropping the rosemary in. It's just really meant to be a little garnish because you don't want to have like the floating rosemary bits all in the drink.
Winds up in your teeth, and suddenly that charming Christmas smile is...
Not so
A little piney.
charming.
No. It's Charlie, the
Ooh,
drunken
I'll
elf.
have this one because I just got. There we go. I'll do that one. So is everyone
which is
doing
one of the
cinnamon
few
sticks?
claymations that isn't run on a regular basis. But Charlie the Drunken Elf is really one of the favorites in my house growing up.
Is he the cousin of the guy who wants to be a dentist?
Yes, that's Hermie.
Oh boy.
Charlie was the ne'er-do-well brother.
Yes.
Is everyone doing cinnamon sticks?
Yes.
Okay, great.
All right.
Excellent.
These are great-looking
They
cocktails.
look great, and they'll look even better once the rocks actually melt a little bit. And next time. See, this is what happens when I don't bring my own cocktail jigger. Is that I use someone else's, and then it just all that booze goes everywhere.
I was. You
I'm
found
gonna
my
blame you,
jigger.
Greg.
found my jigger wanting.
Yes, I did. Sorry, Greg.
That's literally one of the most insulting
When
things
in,
anyone has
when
ever
in doubt,
said to
blame
me.
someone else, guys.
Well, you're doing better than me. If they dare invite me back to do that, I'll be more like
All right,
the
I'll
Swedish
take this
chef.
one because it's
Okay, fabulous.
All right.
So I'm going to take these two. I'll give
Okay.
one to Johnson,
alrighty.
and then we're going to try the yet to be named but previously known
Oh,
as.
do we need coasters, gang?
Uh,
We have coasters. We have
coasters.
coasters here.
Johnson, you've got one here. All right. Well, that was an interesting part of the segment, actually,
Well-
moving around that way. All right. So
All right.
we don't have a name yet, but we're going to give it a sip, and then we're going to come up with something right
gorgeous.
away. It does look good, doesn't it? My
All right.
God.
I think I'll keep my career as a podcaster, gang.
Fair enough. All right. We'll have some swallowing music, and we'll give this a try. Salud.
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 Yeah, that's really good. Oh, my God. That's really
Okay.
good. I mean,
in.
it's so herbal. It's so complicated as a flavor. And yet, I mean, once you've created the special simple syrup,
Yes.
it's insane. All right.
It smells fantastic, too.
Once again, I think you're going to wind up in this year's cocktail compendium, which we are in the process of putting together, as you were back in 2019.
That was a great compendium.
Wasn't it a
I thank
good
you again
compendium?
for it. That was a salud.
Salud. Yeah, no, that was fun. We did the rainwater, as I recall.
We did. That was fun. That was a great drink. I still make that at home sometimes with the beet vodka.
Do you really?
Delish. Yeah.
Oh, that was good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right. All right. So now we have our cocktails. We've begun the conversation. Everything is going to go beautifully from this point forward. Let's
What do you mean
start
from
with
this point forward?
Well, as soon as I'm drinking, I'm happy. Until then, it's basically just fluff until I get my cocktail. Assuming that I haven't been drinking all day, which would be an unwise assumption. All right, Matthew, let's
Yes, sir.
move to you, my friend. Now, you are, as I said, a Minneapolis-based artist. You have space in Minneapolis, correct? Where you're
I have a
creating?
new space in St. Paul.
Oh, really?
And, yep. And I don't know if the old space was St. Paul as well, but it's used to be in the Triangle Building. Now I'm in the Northwestern or the Northern Warehouse Building. I always get that mixed up, but it's
They can
in
be.
Lower Town in St. Paul, and beautiful space.
Fantastic. What's the most important part of the space to you? Why did you choose that? Is the lighting great? Is it energy?
Wow, that's a bullseye question because there is no perfect space. You know, I mean, and what's really great about this space is this one is very warm in comparison to what we had before. We had all white 20-foot ceilings, which definitely my favorite. But gentrified out of our old space and then back to St. Paul's art space kind of got blown out of the water when they lost the Jax building. So it shot artists all over the city, and now we're kind of coming back to Lower Town again, and so now I'm back in Lower Town, and but the space it's an old warehouse, exposed brick, hardwood floors.
See, why
super
is
high
that
ceilings?
always the
They're gorgeous.
best environment for artists? Every artist and every person, like I love that feel and that look. It's the old Chelsea
Yeah.
Yes.
reclamation of the
Yeah.
old warehouse spaces. But why? Why does that work for artists?
Well, I do know, even because science. And science says that high ceilings help creativity and elevated thought.
Seriously?
I'm not kidding. Yeah,
That's interesting.
So the sense of openness above you does definitely give you a sense of. I know for me that it does.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for someone who's not sensitive, or maybe with someone who is, very mentally talented, doesn't need a higher ceiling. But environment matters to me. It does for creation.
My friend, you're talking to a man who owns an interior design firm.
Yes.
Environment, I can say, is very important on every level, and I'll validate that thought. Bethany, you would agree, right?
I would totally agree. I was thinking too, and the name of the author escapes me now, but and of course now the name of the book escapes me now. But there's a book by a Japanese author that in part talks all about why high ceilings are actually, just like you're saying, Matthew, that
Yes.
they basically help to form creativity, and actually variations in height of ceilings I think helps as well.
Certainly.
Of course I'll remember the name of the book after we record.
It goes without saying.
It goes
we'll
without
put it in
saying.
the post-production show notes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Put it in the show notes, Greg.
Johnson,
But-
you got that?
yeah, put it in the show notes.
Excellent.
I heard it from Gretchen Rubin
show
originally.
notes.
Anyway, so I wonder too. Do you think part of it is that an environment like a warehouse is less precious than
Oh, absolutely.
than
So
than
that
something
too.
else?
Now, yes. And so, I made reference to the Swedish Chef earlier about making,
Yes, indeed.
I am not a neat creator.
Okay.
And yes,
I'm just picturing you looking like a human Jackson Pollock.
maybe my wife will slaughter me one day because I'll something new that she gets me. I bring it home with paint. She hasn't slapped me yet, but it's coming.
Oh, God.
So there's barely anything that I own that doesn't have paint on it. But yeah, not precious. I mean, that's even a creative technique. There are some people that literally will mess up their canvas or mess up their whatever just to have something to react to, because that blank, precious, unspoiled white space is
It's not right.
intimidating.
It is. I mean, then you've got almost a limitation on what you can do. I mean, it's going to... Nobody wants to make a complete and total mess out of something that's pristine and pure. I mean, that's not...
Yes.
I mean, if you've got the old environment, you can actually just go to town and what's going wrong. It's like when Gerber... So John Gerber, as we all know, our artist in residence, at first started coming in, and he kept saying he didn't want to make a mess in the studio because it's right off at the lounge. And
I can see that.
And I'm like, no, man, no. I wanted a mess. I want to see paint on the walls. I want to see paint on the floor, because that indicates creativity occurring here as opposed to curation. Agreed?
Agreed.
Wonderful.
Wholeheartedly.
So we know you're a slob. We know that you need all of these things.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your concept of art and what you're creating. Now, your artwork is... Well, first, how do you describe it? I shouldn't try to put words in.
This is going to be a nightmare for you.
I'm ready.
And it's a nightmare for everyone. And this is, it's my strength and weakness at the same time. Is my inability to focus, and I'm only into it if I'm interested.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I am all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So I can tell you that where I'm trained in printmaking. I'm trained in drawing the body, the human body, figure drawing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not where I ended up.
Okay.
I do very large scale, abstract. Everyone has tried to put their own spin on abstract, but lyrical.
Well, by definition, it's abstract. How can you define something abstract?
Well, they do their best, and people.
It doesn't stop
people
them.
People want a category. They want to understand, and they want words. And if you wanted words, I would have been a writer.
That is a great point. What do you think? A
Yeah.
lot of people talk about they want a story behind the art, right?
Sure.
I mean, but there sometimes isn't. I mean, especially if it's... Or is there? Do you have stories behind your work?
Yes,
Okay.
I do. I do, in that they come out of where I am at the moment. Okay. So they're it's not a memoir anyone could read, but it's certainly a bunch of tick marks of time. Each little creation becomes maybe just a telltale sign of where my head's at or my spirit's at the time.
And when you see it, does it bring you back there?
Thank God, no.
See, that's a lot like me. I'm drinking heavily. I never have to go back to anything I did because I don't remember it.
So I'm not a past person. I'm the past I don't form memories hard. I don't focus on the past. It takes. Maybe I'm lucky. Maybe I'm lucky because of the difficulty in trying to just be present and be coherent.
Yes.
That I need to be here now. But no, I do not go back. And sometimes it's startling. Sometimes, really?
And it's just
where was I then?
Real. I mean, that's kind of interesting. Wow. It's almost like a journaling with limited ability to remember the moment. You're reading something that could almost be written by somebody else.
And a lot of it is just introduction to like I said, I can't be pinpointed. And if I grow bored of something, it's gone.
Where did you start? So stylistically, I cut you off before we describe the abstract. And again, It is difficult to describe. Bethany, though, you have known Matthew for quite a while, and you're an outside. It's hard sometimes to describe your own art, Matthew. So I'm going to kick it over to you. How would you describe Matthew's work?
Well, now that we've been talking about, you not being a past, someone who is fixated on the past, what I think is, now that I can see your work, and yes, I would say it's very abstract. I would say that there's a little bit of a Pollock-esque aspect to your work, and on the Uber over here, we were talking about, just this sense of time and what I think is really interesting about your work is that if you're up close, because Matthew's work, some of these pieces are 6 feet tall, right? I mean, it's you can grab hold of the art, right? Figuratively speaking. What I love about it, 6 by 8, right? So what I love about it is, I personally can see the moment in time where you were actually applying the paint by the brush strokes or the spattering or whatever it is your technique is, and I'm probably butchering the technique here, so apologies if I am. But one of the things that I really love about Matthew's work is that you can see his process within the work. I think that's really fascinating.
So I am process heavy, and so in that takes some unpackaging. I have a very strange technique.
Okay.
It's not the only thing I do.
Okay.
But it is so I do a thing called acrylic lift, and I think it was born out of frustration. Probably most things are, but I'd be showing work. I'd be showing traditionally created work. Traditionally, meaning you're working on a substrate. You are adding something to that substrate. You can kind of tell the order in which things are being done. You can kind of tell the technique that's being used, and inevitably, you're showing in some public place, and the public is coming through, and the public has opinions. A lot of public opinions. And you can hear them, and if you don't take them too seriously, you can learn a lot. And my favorite is the guy coming with his girlfriend explaining all the art, like he knows it all. He was like, oh well, he just and he just kind of got anchored in my mind. Oh, he just, and I'm like, is it just? Is it? Maybe it is just. I mean, so I started to hide.
You should have crept up behind the guy and been like, well, actually, sir.
Well, I didn't hide behind them.
The painting starts speaking.
And as far
You're
as
a moron.
Anything, sir.
Those people are all still alive.
Fair enough. But, it's one of the great things. Find a girlfriend who doesn't know anything about art, take her to an art gallery, and just keep talking.
Sounds smart.
Right.
Sounds smart.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So anyway, what it ended up making, and I will try to make this. I mean, I've tried to describe this before, and I took the chance to jump into it this time. I don't like to give necessarily secrets away, but I have a very bizarre way of making very large canvases, and it's kind of like printmaking. It's kind of like wood cuts. It's kind of like I paint on a very large. Well, let's just call it plastic, but it is something. It's kind of an oil and water resist type thing. I paint on a big sheet of plastic.
Okay.
I make a huge sheet of paint that allows me to rip off paint, add paint, rip off paint, add paint.
Really?
That's really cool.
And so
It is.
And then I attach this huge skin of paint to a substrate, and if it's good enough, it'll stay that way. If I'm not done, I'll splatter more paint on it.
There's no problem that more paint can't fall.
If I'm still bored, if it stops talking to me,
It is. That is one of the things that that someone an artist once said to me was one of the hardest things to know when you're an artist is when you're done.
Yeah. And another thing is it takes two people to make a painting, one person to do it, the other person to tell you when to stop. Or
Really? I mean,
tell you when it's done.
But do you have that ability? I mean, who tells you to stop then? Is it one of the other personalities?
I don't let anyone tell me. And maybe that's a problem. That might be a problem. But overwork is. I mean, here's the. I know that the controlled brushstroke mastery of in creating creating something beautifully rendered that you can tell what it is. It is a skill. It's a beautiful thing. It's a traditional thing. It just bores the living daylights out of me.
Fair. Okay.
So, in this day of imagery, that to get someone's attention is hard. It's hard, and
true.
to hold someone's attention even harder.
Well, and to talk about your art, which is a visual medium, in an auditory medium,
Yeah, exactly.
like we're doing
It
right
is.
now.
We talked
right?
about
It is
that on
also
the way
very
here.
difficult, I'm
It's-
sure.
How does one
Shots
paint
help.
a picture with? Agreed. By the way, we haven't had nearly enough quite yet. The warm-up shots were nice, and Johnson and I did a pre-game show warm-up shot, which is delightful. Okay, so
This is a flippin' amazing, and this is coming home with me, and I'm going to make that.
this is a great drink, no question about it. So one of the things that you brought up, Bethany, and right, it's hard to paint a picture. I should. Folks are out there. They may not be driving. They may be at home, be by a computer. So as we're talking, what is the best way to see the work that you've created online?
MatthewGGHolm.com. That's MatthewGG Holm, HOLM.com. And that's probably the best way. Douglas Flanders and Associates, little plug for Doug. He's my gallerist and great guy, and he's been in business 5 ever. And then any art crawl or anything like that, and I've been expanding into.
And you keep that updated on your site, correct? So people can
mostly. The thing is that is every artist's. They say they do, but they're lying. They're so
We've already
lying.
established
They
that you
are
tend to be
lying,
messy.
and
you tend to be ADHD, and then I'm asking you if you're consistently
I'm telling
updating
you,
your website.
I said to myself on the way here in my mind, and I didn't quite start the conversation with Bethany, but I am not going to lie or I'm not going to polish anything. So,
Well, thank you. I appreciate that because
Sink
that
or
makes great
swim.
radio if it's unpolished.
We like the unvarnished version.
No, we do.
because the thing is, so like integrity, being real, everything. I mean, if you don't start there, man, it's hard to get back. So
Integrity once lost is gone forever. I mean, it really, really is. When
That-
people know.
is coming home with me too.
Now ask me if I have any integrity. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
So
well, only
here's
partially.
I think
Don't ask
you-
him.
So
There's only one answer.
I think he's fooling. I think he actually does have integrity. But
A sheep
anyway.
in wolf's clothing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. But that is absolutely fantastic. I should also, again, Bethany is here. I should ask Bethany a quick question. So you are doing podcasting coaching still with your latest smash hit in the UK, correct?
Yeah.
Arrived Daily.
Arrive Daily.
How is that going?
Just broke top 100 podcasts in entrepreneurship in the UK,
Huzzah.
which I have to say, the show's been out like a week and a half. Like, I'm pretty excited about that.
God, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you can listen to it, of course, though, on Spotify and iTunes
Apple,
and stuff.
yeah, Apple Podcasts. We don't say iTunes now, Greg. We say Apple Podcasts.
Do you see how much gray is in this beard? At least I'm not referring it to it as like, is it on AM or FM radio?
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
thank
Yeah,
you.
no, you can hear it now. It's out on the podcast airwaves. Anywhere you get your podcasts, anywhere fine podcasts are heard, you can hear it now. It's
But
a-
wait,
I can
if you
truthfully
subscribe today, Bethany will send you her signature in the mail for no particular reason.
I will. There you go.
Fair enough.
I've been following, and that is the truth. I've been following. She can tell you. She waves at me. I don't know how it happens. She pushes a button, and she doesn't even look
Oh,
down.
yeah, when
She
I do
just
my
goes,
Instagram
and-
lives, I always wave at Matthew.
And yeah. I will tell you, she is working her ass off.
Well, it's paying off. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, I'm not on any British charts. I mean, a couple of, police records.
Wouldn't that be great
but
to
no
say?
charts.
It's like,
Well, I didn't say
I'm
I don't
huge
have a
in Britain.
police record, Greg. I just said that I'm also on the charts in the
Well,
UK.
this says you're big with Interpol, so I don't know if that's...
I'm huge with Interpol. That's a band, right? That's what somebody told
the
me.
band, right?
Uh-huh.
The band.
But it is. I mean, this is all a creative whole that we are talking about here. And it's based on the spoken word. It's based on visuals. So here's the question. This is all art that we're talking about here.
Yes.
Plain and simple. But to you, Matthew, art is what specifically? We were talking a little bit about this before the show. Why is there art? What is art?
Awesome freaking question, man. Wow.
It's the cocktail.
That's the best question I've ever... What?
Johnson,
You're
keep
welcome.
replaying that for a little bit, will you?
Could be the new soundbite for your show.
Right?
Swearing sound, but yeah.
I like that.
Forgive the dramatic pause. That's a huge question. Art is what you are compelled by your DNA to do. There's no one exempt. If there is any sort of creator, if there is anything, if they are made in that creator's image, you are then a creator. And I think that it's a scary adventure to put forth anything into the world that you end up showing to someone else and go, see what I did?
I love that you said your art is what you are compelled by your DNA to do.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
here's what's beautiful about that statement. This is why that was, in my mind, so utterly meaningful. In classical history, people found ways of limiting their egos by understanding that there were forces beyond reality, beyond themselves, that were coming and visiting this upon them. A muse, the most common, but the word genius referred to an extra body experience. I was visited by a genius.
Yes.
But the same is true of the DNA concept that you're talking about. It's not my creation, it's what I'm driven to do.
Right. So I do myself a favor by getting myself the hell out of the way.
Amen.
I think I read that book. Eat, Pray, Love, I think, was the woman who, I don't know. I listen to books. I don't read them. I don't have time.
Yeah.
So I got to keep up with all you smart folks. And
I read the backs of
and to
liquor
be
bottles. What the
somewhat-
hell are you talking about?
well, so you said that,
I'm impressed,
so
Greg.
To say,
That's a lot of reading for you.
That's true. It's like like a novel by the end of the year.
To say that a genius visits you, I mean, so
like
that
reading
is, I mean,
Proust.
so there's much where that came from, and the thing is our modern people like to think that they are a genius.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
No.
I tell you, you
No.
are not.
I mean,
You something in the air, in the timing, in the availability, in the spark, something allowed you to be at the right place at the right time, to make a statement, mark, movement, whatever, and yes, these things are necessary. We're all evolving at the same time. If that spark doesn't hit you, it moves on to someone else. Someone else will, eventually.
and one could even say that, nothing comes automatically. You don't pop out of the womb with a paintbrush
No.
and the ability to create fabulous art. It takes work. It takes honing. You have to create the right environment for the muse, for the genius to visit you. And when it does, you have to be prepared.
And I'm just saying that anyone can do that, and that your interest will lead you to what you're compelled to create. Podcast, making someone else's house a freaking amazing.
I agree.
I heard a thing that I thought was magic is just anything that you've spent an unreasonable amount of time perfecting.
Preventing?
And I wish I could. Perfecting.
Perfecting, okay.
Perfecting. And so, I look at Bethany and I'm like, that is an unreasonable amount of time to spend in your closet recording something. But thank you.
You're not
Thank
wrong.
you for
Matthew,
being
you're not
unreasonable.
wrong.
I appreciate the product and I appreciate so.
The effort and work behind it.
Yeah.
100, and the commitment also to it. I mean, there's another, aspect. It's now very few artists that I know have been artists always. Most have, done something else and at some point felt comfortable enough to launch and say, this is what I am, this is what I'm creating. Yeah. Was that the case with you as well? And what was the point at which you made that decision?
That is interesting. And while you were saying that, I think that actually everyone was born an artist. And then someone...
How do you explain accountants?
Maybe your kindergarten teacher, your first grade teacher, your mom, your mean dad, someone killed you. Someone said, that's not that good. Someone critiqued you and it hurt, so you stopped creating.
Interesting. And you're talking about not just painting. You're talking about everyone is born with some kind of ability to enrich the world, which, frankly, is what I consider to be art.
Sure.
Art is any kind of enrichment of the world around us, whether it's meaningful, no matter how vast. But you're right, somewhere.
It's applying your creativity to anything. This drink. Masterpiece, thank you.
I couldn't agree more. Cocktails are art.
Cocktails are art. Who wants another round?
I'm in.
Okay, good.
I'm absolutely in. So you're going to go mix one?
I'm going to go mix.
For
You
those
guys
on the
keep
radio,
chatting.
I've raised my hand.
I know, right? Another round around.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Glorious.
Johnson's got responsibilities. But, okay, so I love this concept of everyone's born an artist in some way. Different type of art. Again, could be verbal, could be written.
Sure.
Could be design, could be what have you.
But even if we just were to talk about just what I do, I'm making visual imagery. Kids are natural. They're like I'm looking at your piece that's right across from me. It's a black and white piece, obviously created very quickly with an enormous amount of energy. It's you could even say it's childish. But the boldness and everything of making those marks that are on this beautiful black and white thing in front of me, they are without critique. They're almost automatic, without and that's what kids can do before they've been critiqued or graded or.
Well, isn't that one of the fundamental, complaints, or not complaints, but observations that people make about abstract art is my kid could do that. Now, of course, going without, no, your kid cannot do that. You just think he can because you don't understand what's happening.
You're right.
But it still is a matter of calling back to that basic human creativity. And
your
being
kid
able to
can do that, but when it's time for that kid to make a living, he will have forgotten. So, I don't know. I'm sure everyone says this about Picasso. He was, and I hate to even bring him up, but he said it took him forever to paint like a child again, and so what? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't.
No, it's like
yes, to get loose again, to get out of your own head again, to get to go back to the garden when everything was innocent, and try doing that. That's fucking hard work. I'm sorry. It's
a great
hard
point,
work.
and I like to hear that defense of it because it's absolutely true. And it makes sense. This particular piece, I think, is actually interesting because it's Japanese. It's a Gerber, actually, because in my office I have two Gerbers. I have a
Is
La
that his?
Rotunda, Bob Hess.
That's John's?
That's one of John's.
That's a smoking piece.
And that is one of the pieces. So John's favorite inspiration is Hokusai. Is that
the imperfection thing? Is
What's-
that? Please.
It's a Chinese or Japanese artist who has a particular style of, like, you see a lot of his waves, and they're fascinating. His favorite quote is, Hokusai lived till he was 96, and they asked him when he became a great artist, and he said, "If I live another 100 years, maybe you'll say, or I'll say I'm a great artist."
Excellent.
But it is the control. It is controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Thank you, dear. And that takes skill. It takes skill. Not restraint. It's not suppressed. We're not talking about puritanical use. Because yet, to the best of my knowledge, there were no great Puritan artists.
I bet. Because they didn't. Restraint takes a lot of energy, but.
Is that a Goody
is a
Wind
creative
shoe?
energy.
That's a genuine Goody Wind shoe. But no, it is. This is why I love talking to artists. A different concept associated with what you see and an understanding of what's within it. Johnson, we're raising a drink to you,
Johnson.
even if you're not drinking.
Oh,
at this
Johnson, so
Holy
responsible.
That
No, I'm
is.
terrible. I wish. Yeah.
point. Some quality
That might
stuff.
be the best drink I've had, and I don't mean to say that, but I like old fashions anyway, but they can tend to be sweet.
Mm-hmm. And these are most definitely not. The simple syrup you're using, is it a lower sugar content than you'd have in a general?
No, it is. The
It's just
ratio
more
is
infused.
1-to-1 water and your sugar. But it's funny because I actually was wondering if these were going to be a little bit too sweet. But I'm glad you enjoy them because
I'm enjoying them, and I generally don't
I do have a
enjoy
sweet
sweet
tooth.
that much. So you have once again opened new doors for me, dear. It's a fantastic experience.
well, good. I'm glad. I don't tend to be an old-fashioned lover myself, but I think it's just because I find them a bit almost like too simple because there are so many amazing cocktails out there now that I'm like, well, why would you do an old-fashioned when you could do something a bit more, with a bigger flourish? But I really liked this recipe that I found. I wish I could say that I could claim it, but
No, it's fantastic, and at some point we'll come up with a name for it.
yeah, we'll come up with a name for it.
Because it deserves to be monikered, and it must be published. And I will make sure I do that for you.
Publish it then.
It must be published.
It must be published.
It must.
Fair enough. And as it happens, I am looking for someone potentially to do the new cover, Matthew. So we'll talk about that at a later time as well.
With your
Gerber
cocktail
did the
compendium,
original.
Volume 2 or Volume 3 now?
We were going to, this will just be volume 2
Volume
because
2.
we got hit by COVID in 2020. And as you recall, I did, what was it, Johnson, about 52 weeks of the best of Drinking the Style.
2021 was the lost year of drinking the style.
It really was. It really, really was. So we didn't have a book, but we're going to put one together again this year, which is fabulous. Okay. I'm going to ask you, I hope that I'm not yelled at for this, but this is totally a different concept. Johnson, how much time do we have left, actually? We got 5 minutes? All right. We
Seriously?
actually... Wow. It has... as always, flown by insanely quickly and without breaks and drinking in between. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I know I've talked about this before, but as you're listening out there, send me an email, Greg at habitationdesign.com. Let me know what you think and other thoughts that you have on how to make this particular format work, because this is genuinely unique to the best of my knowledge. Bethany, you're in the biz. Do you know anybody doing a cocktail party-esque podcast of this kind?
No, I don't actually know anyone doing a cocktail party-esque podcast. I dig it. Clearly I've liquored up, but I'm having a good time. I think it's a great concept, Greg. I'm going to email you tomorrow. Also, the fact that you just gave your email out live is pretty disturbing to me, but sure.
Really?
Good luck with that.
Greg at habitationdesign.com. It can be found anywhere. Luckily, I have Jackie who's going to go through all my emails.
Yeah.
I had a Nigerian prince for you.
It's a great deal. I got like 3 of them. What are the odds? It's fabulous.
3 of them.
I'm
Wow.
totally off the radio next week. Screw you all. I have like $17 million waiting for me on Tuesday. It only cost me $500.
Good luck with that. I actually have my first framed check that was fraud.
No!
My first fraudulent check, of
Really?
where they overpay you like $10,000. I think I had a $7,000 painting or something. They sent a check for $17,000. Thank God for the internet, because I was like, wow, $17,000. I'll never have to work again. Anyway, fraudulent and framed.
I have a picture of myself and a Nigerian parent sitting together.
Yes.
No, doing a shot.
Thanks for
He's laughing hysterically. I don't know why. He really found me entertaining. All right, so we only got a minute or 2 left, and here's what I'm going to hit you with. One last question. We've already talked about where to see your work. We've already talked a little bit about your website, etc. Here's my final big question. Are you ready?
I hope so. That last one was huge. That took a lot of mental
What
effort.
is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? No. What do you...
European or African?
Outstanding. No, here it is. The fundamental question, I'm pulling this out of the top of my head, so don't expect something
I'm ready.
too enormously deep. Are you ready?
So. I hope it's
you ready? If you had only one piece left to paint, what would you come up with?
Greg, that's mean.
Wow!
You don't think that's a really
goodness.
good question?
It's a great
think
question.
I nailed it on that.
You nailed it. It's mean.
It is mean, but you know what? I've been
Answer
into
it,
mortality
Matthew.
these
Answer
days. I know.
Wow.
I know. Just stew on that
Gregory.
for once. Is it good?
But there's a world of opportunity because you can paint anything you want.
You are a sage. Jeez.
I'm a drunken sage.
I love it.
Which, by the way, is pronounced sag. When you're drinking enough. Or shage.
Shage.
I'm huge in Europe, and I'm a sage.
I'm gigantic behind the Iron Curtain.
Because my first love is the human figure, and unfortunately, it is hard as a male human being to respectfully do the female figure and the male figure in any as it is so artful, and I don't know if it's our own time that we're living in. Maybe we're just beginners, where we're at right now, but and not evolved. But man, the human figure is so incredibly expressive. To do something that could hold someone's interest over time, as that is the subject matter, I would.
The human figure is what it comes down to. In the end, that's what you would like to leave
in some
this
fashion.
place presenting. And it is true, because honestly, can you think of anything more beautiful than the human figure? Honestly, speaking to our souls, being driven to connect with one another means that the human figure, the human body, is the paramount.
And it's a call to creativity again. I mean, creating more of you.
Agreed.
Creating more of us. Creating, it's...
That makes me actually really happy to hear, because the first piece I've bought from you is indeed the human figure.
It is.
And it spoke to me, and there was a story with that we could have talked about as well, of it going from one person or another person of interest here and there. But it is, in my opinion, quintessentially you.
Nice. Thank you.
All right. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We have drunk our way through yet another podcast radio show. And again, this special, very special episode of Drink in the Style. If we could do like a little bubble inside to put our faces, that would totally nail it. But
nice.
Thank you very much. So, on behalf of Habitation Design, the District Edina, Matthew G.G. Holm, and the G.G. stands for Great Guy. Which I think your parents were really foresighted in that.
Yeah, I hope so.
Something like that. Or Guggenheim, go get 'em. Anyway, on behalf of you, Matthew, on behalf of Bethany, Wrede, Peterson, and her podcast,
Arrived Daily,
AM 950, and myself, Gregory Rich, I would like to wish everybody good luck this coming week. And I'm going to throw out a very simple but always true quote, in vito veritas. If you don't know what it means, look it up, because it's pure truth. Good night, everybody.
La 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 la.